Hey friends, welcome to today's bonus episode as I sit down with my good friend Akiva McClam and we talk about his debut play, I'll Be Home for Christmas, that's launching in Orlando this Saturday, December 14th. He shares his heart for the gospel, how he became a creative playwright, and his love for helping communities grow. So grab your cup of coffee and let's get started. Well, hey friends, welcome to the Entrusted to Lead podcast. I'm Danita, and I am joined today by my friend, Akiva McClam. He is the playwright and CEO and veteran, and I'll let him explain all those amazing things and how that journey transpired. But he is here to talk about his amazing play that's being released, one of the new ones. So I'm super excited. I invited him to come on the show and tell his amazing journey and share all of his lessons of leadership and faith and all the amazing things that's happened in his life. So thanks, friend, for joining me today. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, and thank you for having me on today. I'm excited. Good to see you.
It's so good to see you. I know this is so crazy. I love this podcast. I love how God's like, here, use something like a podcast, and I get to meet amazing people that I haven't seen in forever. So, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about where you're at today and what's going on in your life? Because it's a busy week for you.
It is a very busy week. We just finished. Well, I'm doing a production. It's a stage play called "I'll Be Home for Christmas." Right during this season time, all the Christmas stories comes out, the movies, the plays, and I'm doing a play, and it's called "I'll Be Home for Christmas: A Season of Transformation." And I put that in parentheses because that season of transformation it talks about the family going through some unforgiveness in the family. And I think it's a time right now that a life we live in, a lot of family need to come together a lot more. Not just on Christmas, but just we got to bring those ties of strong family ties together. So that's what I'm doing now. We just finished Zoom rehearsal last week, and this week coming Monday, all the cast could be flying into Florida.
Wow. And where in Florida? Where in Florida are you guys at?
It's gonna be Orlando, Florida.
In Orlando. Okay. So I knew you maybe 20 years ago. Maybe. Are we sharing our age?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Somebody asked me. I was trying to use my military discount, my retirement, and they asked me what year I retired, and I looked at the year and I could not believe it.
What year was that?
It was 2008 because I got out medical discharge. Yeah, so they retired me. Air Force. God was good. I got a medical retirement, and that was back in 2008 of November the 1st.
Wow. You have obviously playwright, and you've started and created this amazing company and brought all these people from all over who have a passion and a faith for art and theater. And when we were in the military, we were not art and theater majors. We were radio operators doing
Yes.
National Command Authority nuclear C3 stuff, which I tell people is super boring. But how
Yeah.
do you tell us a little bit about that journey? Like, I have 1,000 questions, but how did you end up where you are today?
Well, it actually started when I was a little kid, right? I had a robust imagination. I used to play with my little mentors, the G.I. Joes and all that type of stuff. And I would sit at the table and I just go and lose myself into this world I created, right? And I didn't think about this until later when people say, "How do you get into writing?" And I had to really think about it. I remember I already started having these thoughts in my mind, these big imagination and big ideas. And actually, when I got in college, did the same thing. I used to jot some stuff down. But honestly, when I got in the military, it's like that just went away. I didn't think about it until one day I was attending a church in Waldorf, Maryland, and they asked, like, "Hey, can someone write us a Christian production? We never had a play." And I was asked to write a play. And I'm like, "Why you guys choose me? Why me? I don't write plays. I wasn't thinking about writing plays." In college at Bethune-Cookman University, I graduated from in '96. I majored in sociology. So I got a BS degree in sociology. I didn't go to school for communication or anything in theater. I wasn't doing that at all. But the faith part come in, and when you mentioned that, it's when I said yes to God that I would do it. No lie. I sat at the table and I started getting all these ideas coming to me, and I could see the words flowing around me.
Wow.
I grabbed my laptop and I just started typing. I started typing what I was seeing floating around and coming to my spirit. And I was just typing. Next thing you know, I wrote my first Christmas production in 7 days.
Wow.
In 7 days, yeah.
And how long, what's the average that it normally takes? I guess something like that.
Whew, after that, my second play took me about 6 or 7 months to write, and then now it's like it's out of maybe because I do this part time.
That's right.
You know, now if I really had time to do this full time, I probably can write a play within 6 months on average.
Gotcha.
But now, working full time, being a family person, all that type of stuff. But my full time job though is what take a lot. I wrote this play in a year, about a year time frame to really get things moving, get all the production together. Takes about a good year of everything.
Yeah. And do you think, like, on that moment where you said yes to God, but you weren't qualified,
No.
right?
Mm,
You didn't feel
mm,
like you were like, I got this. I know this. Like, I've
yeah.
been to school. I have papers. I have letters after my
Mm,
name. Remember that
mm.
moment where you just decided, like, what was it inside of you that finally said, okay,
It was this year after 10 years. After 10 years of doing it,
really?
it was this year. You know why it was this year? It was most key for me to say that what you just said. Just forget about it. I didn't go to school for this. Forget it. I didn't, get a master's degree. I don't know anything about the how to format the script. Forget about it, right? Until I started working with celebrities in my play. It took me about 10, almost going 11 years. Now I got major stars coming in my play now.
Right.
And I was saying, how are they going to receive me, a person never went to school from this? These guys have been on TV shows, done been on HBO series.
Mm,
They making movies. They all, doing all that stuff. How are they going to receive me giving them direction and the
right.
person ain't got no degree? Guess what? You know what came to my spirit?
No.
God told me, it said, Moses didn't have the experience to bring the Israelites to the Red Sea.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
And he led them there. And when they got to the point where he felt that is a Red Sea in front of them, and where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna go? He said,
Yeah.
as like I commanded Moses to pick up his staff and raise his staff and command, he told me the same thing. As long as I stay connected to him, and when I get to that point when I feel like I'm coming across a Red Sea, just raise my staff and just listen to God, and God gonna part that sea for me.
That's right.
And because I keep that attitude, these guys, I went through a whole trend of rehearsal with these guys, these celebrities, the great talent that who's working to be, in that celebrity status in the local area. They all said, man, Akiva, you know, even though you didn't go to school for this, but it come natural to you. This one lady who played with Jennifer Lopez in the TV series before, and she told me this after rehearsal. She said, Kiva, people, directors like you go to school and they basically pay hundreds of $1,000s to get what you're doing naturally.
Right.
And when she told me that, it's because I raised the staff and God just dumped everything to me. I just follow his command and instruction. I'm okay.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing. It's interesting because I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier today and we were talking about faith. Sometimes faith is when God called Moses and he had a staff in his hand, right? And then God said, "Raise the staff and then the sea will part and you can see the dry land and then walk." So Moses's faith was like, all I need you to do is lift the stick, just raise the stick.
That's it.
But sometimes faith is like, there is no stick. And God's like, hey, I need you to put your foot in the raging river. It's going to part. I
Mm.
promise. But I think that's the other thing too. I'm learning in this season of my life is like, sometimes faith is a stick and you can see it in your hand and you touch it and you're like, oh, this isn't, I can do this.
Right, right.
But then it's okay if it's not a stick and you're like, God is asking you like Joshua to put your foot in the raging water and you don't know how deep it is and you don't know what's on the
Yeah,
other side,
yeah,
and
yeah.
in that scenario for you, you didn't know because you didn't have any frame of reference. You didn't have
No.
school. What was community like for you?
Mm. So at the time I was married, so that's one of my ex-wife. I don't want to call her ex-wife because we're still friends today. You know what I'm saying? But she believed in me at an early stage. She remembered that she the one who said, "Won't you write the play for the church?" And
Mm,
I'm asking, why me? And she reminded me back in those days in college that I used to. She used to but she used to watch me, do that. So
yeah.
I had her support at the time. Then I had the church support that I was going to. And then God was introduced me to a lot of people, the local playwrights, the local actors. And so he surrounded me around people that I can connect to and network with.
Right.
The key thing, I began to network. That was one of the key thing about what I'm doing is the ability to network with people and talk, Don't be afraid to talk to people. And also giving people an opportunity. So I got on to YouTube. I got onto social media, all the type of stuff, Instagram, and I recruited. Because I was a past football player back in the day, I utilized the same tactic
Mm-hmm.
of recruiting the key people in the play by recruiting them like a college recruiter. You
Really?
know, the
Wow.
same methodology of looking and studying. I would study people for about 6 months to a year before I approached them about a play.
But what were you looking for as you were watching them?
Yep. Yeah,
That
no,
sounded
it's no,
creepy.
I know.
I mean, it
Look,
sounded
no,
like that. I don't mean it to sound creepy.
right. People like, why are you watching me
No,
like that?
I
I'm
know.
like,
I know. That's a disclaimer. We're not stalkers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing is though, what I was watching a lot of things. One, do they have it? I can see if they got it. Meaning they're not shy. They bold about what they're doing. They got showmanship. And two, I'm trying to see where they fit the personality of this character I'm writing. Because I already done wrote the script. I already have a script in my mind, and now I'm out there going to look and recruit. And
Mm,
God, every time,
no.
honestly, I don't do much auditions.
Wow.
I really don't. I sit back and I just sit back and watch people. God lead me to those right people, and I sit back and watch them. Only time I do auditions is when people say, "Well, other people may want to get involved. You leaving them out." So I would do it just to get some supporting actors, you know. But those main characters, God lead me to those people.
I know nothing about the acting world. I'm sure performance is a piece of it, but you're looking at the values that that person has. Is that right? So you're looking at not just their performance ability to put on a show or to assume the identity of a character, but are you also looking at a deeper level because you have a faith? Is that what seems to come as you're looking at people?
Well, yes and no, because when I write these plays, I believe in writing with people who's non-believers or believers.
Sure.
I have no problem with that preference because in this life we live in this world,
That's right.
But God just tell us we don't have to be a part of this world, but we live in this world. So to be able to reach out the masses that really don't really believe in God, I have to utilize them.
Yeah.
God could use a rock, God could use a donkey, whatever. I can use those non-believers as well. I can use an atheist,
Yeah.
just play his part. But guess what? As soon as he done working with me, and when my play, my passion, my love for God, because I don't change my personality because you're atheist. I'm gonna remain who I am. Then at the end of the day, they were like, "Hey, I'm going through some, or my mother's going through some. Can you pray for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm reeling you in." Yeah, but because I refuse to change. But to answer your question, yes and no. I do look for everything. If I have a serious character that is connected to God, and I really need them to really display that.
Sure.
I try
Sure.
not to just use a person who's not of the spirit, who don't believe,
Yeah.
you know, because there's a element in a time in the play that I'm gonna have to push them. They can be acting to a certain extent, but to
Mm.
but to deliver what I'm looking for, to deliver what I'm really trying to display in that character about belief and that spirit, that person got to be connected to God and got to be have the Holy Spirit. They follow the Holy Spirit guidance. So I would definitely choose a person for that role.
Yeah.
Anybody else, with regular role, yes, I choose them for that. But if it's a spiritual role, that person got to just come to the point where he's dealing with something and he cries out to God, and he knows how to cry out to God or receive it. That person got to have an understanding or belief, spiritual connection with God.
That makes sense. And have you seen in your playwright journey these transformations in your actors? I mean, you're saying like the person who's like doesn't have a faith and they come through and then they're like, I believe, or can you pray or whatever. But in the form of the play, have you seen the play become that conduit for some of these people to work out their faith in action?
Oh yeah, matter of fact, a lot of these seasonal actors that act for other directors,
Yeah.
other network, other production company, they come to me and I get this a lot. They say, Kiva, I truly feel like a fresh breath air, or feel good that I can come and work at a production that I can really relax and be myself and stretch my faith out. I get that with some of the actors because a lot of time they got to get closed in and become that character, what that director or that writer told them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they box them in. When I write, I'm always going to write with a message. I'm always going to write about reality stuff, comedy, drama. I don't write to the point where I allow nobody to put me in a box, because I always go back to Training Day. And when Denzel said this, he said, in order to catch a fox, you got to be a fox. So there gonna be some writing that I'm gonna write. It maybe offend somebody who traditionally go to church. But in order for me to connect to that person, their communication, their language, and everything, I have to study the different cultures.
Right.
You know, I just can't write and just put something out there. That's when a lot of the church plays fail.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to be labeled as a church play. I'm a writer, you know, because now they put me in a box, and I don't want those actors to be put in the box too. So when they come work with me, I let them be themselves, but at the same time, I let them stay in the content. But to answer your question again, is that they really feel comfortable and, well, really comfortable to come work with me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of art and
Mm,
writing, because it has been a form of changing cultural norms and addressing the thing that's like right in front of you, right? The elephant in the room that we don't know how to say out loud, or
mm,
socially we don't have, it's not acceptable or whatever. And so I think it's a beautiful thing that you're like, hey, this is reality, or here are real things that we're working on, and
mm.
just being transparent, because that's how life is transparent, right? And I
Right,
think that's when art, I think, is really powerful too. Writing or art or pictures or music or whatever. It's because it touches a place of you that's really real. Like, it's
right.
really vulnerable. Like
Exactly.
Hamilton, like that, that was a huge conflict, a different,
Hmm.
but there's valid conversation.
Exactly.
Like, it is a
Right.
mechanism to have a conversation, a necessary conversation.
I agree.
Yeah, so I love that's your medium. So we talk on the podcast about leadership. You're my friend, and I'm super excited for you, and I'm so proud of you. How has your leadership lens changed from then to now as you lead these teams every day?
Well, it haven't turned off leaving the military.
Yeah, yeah.
It really haven't, because a lot of people like, have you used to be in the military? I said, yeah. It's hard for me
Yeah,
to deny it because I use that way in my leadership. I can go from being a coach, a mentor,
mhm,
um, a manager, leader. Because in the airman leadership school, remember that?
right.
As you know, Air Force. I don't know what the Army and Marines guys do in the Navy, but we call it ALS. But I remember they were teaching about management, from it being a manager and a leader,
Yeah,
and they said a manager sometimes could be
mhm,
a leader could sometimes be a manager. But I think those two tools are very skills to
right. Oh,
have
yeah.
as leadership, or just basically govern a group
Mhm,
of people. And I use that in my acting, directing. I have to be at time I got to be a mentor. At time I got to be a project manager
right.
with managing all my schedule and my time. Like today, we had a meeting today with you at 2:30. Then after this, today at 4 o'clock, I got another one. Then after this one, I have a 5 o'clock one. So
Right.
those back to back to back. Now I got to make sure my project manager hat is on and cover all that. Even coming up with the rehearsal schedule,
Yeah.
coming up with the itinerary when they come in. And I'm thinking now that rehearsal's over, the Zoom rehearsal, they flying in on Monday. Now I got to get the itinerary ready for Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
You know, so it's many hats that I'm wearing, but the leadership and the skills the military taught me, those years I've been in the military, really prepared me for what I'm doing today. It really does help me in my 9 to 5 job as well. And at times, and I don't know if you have that issue or your husband have the issue. My good friend Mark, sometimes we don't know how to. I don't know how to turn it off. Sometimes I gotta just turn it off, relax, and no thinking. You know what I'm saying? And be calm. Cool, cool.
That's exactly right. It is hard. Yeah. I am finding in this season, I like to sit in the living room with nothing on.
Mm,
And our kids are big now, so
yeah,
most of them are out of the house. We have one more here at home. He's a senior, but everyone else has grown and big in the world. And it's just exhausting. I am the same too. But I think the two elements of leadership, or the value system or principles of leadership that you're talking about, that I think about when you speak, is like, one, clarity.
right,
You're bringing clarity to a bunch of people, even as something as like logistics and schedules and making sure everyone is on time. Sometimes I think we overlook how important clarity is from a leadership perspective, because you're really casting the vision
right,
as a visionary leader. Like, you created this play, right? Like, you wrote it.
right,
So it's your vision. But then you have to then take that vision, and then you have to put it in a way that other people can understand underneath it, and then actually like live that out. So, are there any tools or techniques that you have found that help you do that well, or lessons you've learned along the way of taking this idea and putting it into reality?
A lot of people tell me I have a great way of explaining things. I'm a good storyteller. So what I do, based upon, I just be myself, and not really. Even though I got, like you say, go back to that time where people went to school and they look. I just I use my personality and who I am, and I think how my sociology degree comes in too as well, because I study people. I study their personality. I know how they are. If I know they're serious, I'm gonna come to them directly about the play. No joking, because I know they just really, really serious. But if I know somebody's personality relax, I can joke about certain things, and as I'm explaining it to them, make them feel relaxed. So I look at people nonverbal
Hmm.
signs and fill them out as I explain it to
Yeah.
them. And been helping me out. That been helping me out a lot too as well. And also my approach, like I said, the approach is very important too as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so that's why I don't want to be that strict director, because I don't heard a lot of those New York directors, LA directors. They can be strong. They can be strong. What I hear, they blast them. And they say, "I'm the director. If you don't like it, you're gonna walk out that door."
Power, right?
I don't want to deal with that like that. I don't talk to my people like that. You know.
Yeah, I thought that when you said mentor, which comes to mind empathy, which
Hmm.
I think is such a powerful tool in leadership that we kind of
Hmm.
step over sometimes. I just did a podcast yesterday about gratitude, but gratitude from the position of trust, right? So it sounds like to me you have a very grateful heart, one, to God for this journey
Hmm.
that He's taken you on, and to the people who are giving their talents and helping this vision come to life. And that
Hmm.
heart leadership, just it's like energy, it radiates in a room, right? But I
Right.
think the other powerful tool that you have in your toolkit is the empathy tool, because you are meeting people where they are and you're
Hmm.
giving them the space. That doesn't mean that it's free range. I'm sure everyone's not running around on this stage like just making their
No.
characters up. Like
No.
there's
Right.
clarity. Like you're like, no, we're
Right.
going this way. Stop, put that down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had to stop a few of them. When I give them what I do, I write everything in content. I tell them this is the template, right? I want you to make it more comfortable to you how you say it. I may said it this way, but make it more you. Make it
Mm,
more well how people are talking today. So they're changing around, but stay in the content of where we're going. If I feel like they are going out, I will pull them back in immediately,
yeah.
because once again, it's taken away from the vision what God gave me. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, and I gotta stay on that vision. I gotta stay on that task. I can't let them just change it. Honestly, think about it. That's what Satan doing today.
Mm,
God would give us something, right?
yeah.
And then he'll
Yeah.
come in and want to change it around and make it perverted, whatever, and take it away from whatever God really tried to give that person. And that's what I refuse to let Satan do in these plays.
Wow, that is so powerful. That's the statement right there. You're right. I'm
Yeah.
sitting and just in this place of identity, right? And our
Hmm.
identity in Him that God gave us when we were you like. There's so much power, but then the enemy comes and takes all those little pieces of our identity and chips away at them one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the most powerful thing, is being known and being seen by the creator. Like
Hmm.
once you know that, I think from a faith perspective, and this year has been a really big journey with me with being seen by God,
Hmm.
like seeing God in the sacrifice that Jesus made, and that reverence is one element, I think. But
Hmm.
then when we are seen, when we are fully seen by a holy God, and we stand before Him for as much as we can this side of
Right.
earth, that changes us to the core
Hmm.
of who we are. And
It does.
once you're seen, you can't be unseen by Him ever. I don't think the enemy can ever,
I know.
like it, I'm just in this place of like taking back what the enemy stole. Like I'm so incredibly like, no, that was a lie.
Hmm.
Like the enemy tried to take your identity in Him. He stole it,
Hmm.
and we need to get it back. So that's my little rant where I'm at right now.
Oh no, I love it. I
Um,
love it.
yeah. So let's talk about your vision for this play. And if you could wave a magic wand, where would you be? Where would it be 5, 10 years from now?
Oh, good question. Um, I would say next year.
There we go. Okay. We're claiming it. Yeah. 45 days.
Is you put that you put that project manager on that right
That's
there
right.
quick 45 days.
And plus 45. There we go. That's exactly right. Yeah. I
So
did.
actually I want to take this play. No, actually I'm on course with what I wanted to do.
Good.
I told the people I've been working with, each year I want to do this play and build upon it. I want the different singers to come in from different locations. I want to go from state to state, because it started in the DC area, right? But nobody don't know about that play but the DC area. And I only did a few times there. So my goal is I wanted to take it out of DC. So I'm on my pathway of what I want to do. But now what I want to do is I want to introduce it back to my home state where I was born, Florida, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I'm excited. But following that, next year I want to go to these states. I want to come back here in Florida and do it in my city I was born in, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
Come back to Orlando, all right? Then we go to North Carolina and then to the DMV, back to the DMV, to those listeners who I was the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Yeah.
And then actually one more, I got some connection in Detroit, and we found and finished in Detroit, Motown.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and have a great time. We can have a great time in Motown with the different singers and all that stuff.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So that's my goal for next year.
All right.
Yeah. And I already been planning in my mind already. I already talked to my team. As soon as this play's done next week, I said, hey, let's meet immediately for a post meeting.
AAR
production post. Yep, the post production meeting, and then we go ahead and start planning. Because we got main thing is getting those theaters, what they call it, security deposit to lock those dates in.
Okay.
And once we get our dates in, boom, we know now we can start recruiting. I like to keep this cast, but I like to recruit in the different local talent in those different cities, bringing in some more new singers here and there, and go from there. So it's a plan already.
That is so exciting. Do you know where in North Carolina you want to go?
So my executive producers and from Roxbury, North Carolina, but I think Raleigh will be the ideal place for that area, for that play in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a bigger city, and I get a lot of people from Roxbury to come there, drive out that way. People from Charlotte, if they want to come, you know, it's drivable. Yeah.
Oh, it's super exciting. Okay, so say it again. Let everybody know when the show is and when it's coming, what it's about.
Okay, the show is December 14th, where we got, 7 days, almost 8 days left. And it's called I'll Be Home for Christmas, a Season of Transformation. And basically, if you think about, did you have a good Thanksgiving, like all the family gathering?
We did.
Did you
for
have
the
that?
kids? They came.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the kids.
Yeah.
You know, so just imagine you flip that into Christmas. And this family was known for the Christmas celebration. The community liked to come to this family. And it did a lot of eating together, a lot of singing, just basically the place to be because they made everyone feel comfortable and loved. But this, for the last 5-6 years, there's been a transformation, a change in this family. The kids don't come home anymore. They're adult kids now because of some past hurts that happened in the family.
Yeah.
Everybody refused to come back home, right? So dad have died off. Mom's been about home by herself for 5 to 6 years by herself. But this season, she decided, I'm going to ask my kids to come back home and let's try to see if we can bring this Christmas celebration back. Oh. And so this whole thing is, she wrote this letter to them and they all accepted. So one by one, they come home. But before they can get to where they used to be known for in that community, because they were the light in that community.
Wow.
You know, but before they can get to it, they got to have those tough conversations, tough things that happened in the past to be able to forgive, to get back to the celebration of Christ's birthday.
That's powerful stuff right there.
You know, so it's I'll Be Home for Christmas, a season of transformation.
Oh, friend, I'm so excited for you. Oh my gosh.
And is at the Kingdom Baptist Church in Orlando, Florida. And you can go to their website at www. It's a long website, y'all. It's www.McClam with the S at the end.com. So you can go there for tickets. And December 14th, we're doing 2 shows at 2 p.m. and at 6 p.m. Orlando, Florida.
All right. I'll put all the links in the show notes. We're going to definitely flip this episode really fast so we can get it out. I'm so proud of you, friend.
I appreciate that. No, I'm proud of you guys too because of your books. You coming out with the different books and everything. Yeah. I'm definitely going to support you because I want to read your books and everything.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, the audiobook will come out in a couple weeks before Christmas, so you can listen to it while you're driving up and down the East Coast. How's that?
Awesome. This has been awesome.
Yes, it was so good. Thank you for coming. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Entrusted to Lead podcast today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with my friend Akiva. And if you're in Orlando, pop over to the show, grab a ticket. And if not, keep tabs on his website and social media as they continue to travel around the country sharing their love and hope with the world. If you're not already subscribed to the Entrusted to Lead newsletter, pop over to danitacommons.com and join for the latest updates. I hope that you have an amazing day. Keep showing up every day, even when it hurts, because you matter. I'll see you later. Bye.